Hello and welcome to the Mansfield Town Shirts YouTube channel. With the retain list out this week, let's have a look at who's next for Mansfield Town. In this video, we are going to delve into 6 key areas that I think Mansfield Town need to improve this season. We'll talk about the goalkeeper position, which is obvious now. Christy Pym has left the club. We're going to look at right wing back, assuming that Nigel Clough's going to play some form of 5 at the back formation next season. We will look at centre-back as well. Playing 3 centre-halves leaves us a little bit short with a few players leaving. We're going to look at central midfield, both defensive and slightly more creative. And we're also going to look at that all-important striker position. For each position, I have suggested a top target, a realistic target, and a bit of a wild card target for each position. Let's take a look. We start then with goalkeepers, and the top signing we have selected here is Owen Goodman, currently on loan at AFC Wimbledon in the playoffs in League 2, looking to get promotion. He is from Crystal Palace, so he's only on loan at Wimbledon, and he has had a tremendous season. His statistics have been unbelievable, and every match I've seen him play, be it in the FA Cup, in the league or in the playoffs, he's been absolutely superb and would be a real beast in goal for Mansfield. Really commanding, very good shot stopper. And a good passer of the ball as well, which is exactly what the Stags need. The only problem being, or a couple of problems being, one of them is really highly in demand at the minute, and he may want to stay with AFC Wimbledon, especially if they get promoted. But Owen Goodman, without a doubt, is my top goalkeeper target. Goalkeeper number 2 on this list, and a bit of a realistic signing, is Nathan Bishop, who is at Sunderland, having been on loan this season in League 1. Barely played though. So he hasn't played a lot and hasn't really played a lot for the last couple of seasons, various loan deals from Sunderland. Is obviously, of course, ex-Mansfield, likely to be released, I would imagine, at the end of his contract this season. Decent all-round goalkeeper, not quite as good as Goodman. But yeah, I think, maybe mixed opinions if he came back. But, he did well here when he was here in League 2, so potentially, I think there's a chance that he might come back. Like I say, the negatives being he hasn't played a lot in the last few seasons and did make a few mistakes when he was here as well. Our third and final goalkeeper on this list is Max Crocombe. Had a really good season at Burton this season. Is in renegotiations according to their list, but I think he'd be a really good goalkeeper for the Stags. Likely to be free. Clough has definitely got insights with him. Of course, he could re-sign for Burton because they are negotiating apparently, but really good stats in a pretty poor team defensively. So for me, a bit of a wild card because he could sign, and we certainly wouldn't be the first player from Burton Albion, would he, that we've had recently. We move then on to right wing back, and that is a position that I think the Stags really need to strengthen in. We've got Hewitt, of course, but very injury prone. I think we need someone who attacks a little bit more, and the perfect man for that is Luke Bolton. I've been crying out to try and sign him for a few seasons for the Stags. He went to Wrexham, understandably, probably on a lot higher wages than Mansfield would have paid at the time. So I have put a negative as lightly high wages. Little to no playing time this season is a bit of a negative, but he's at a great age, could definitely still improve. He was fantastic against us, and he has the one thing that this club is lacking, and that is pace. We have no pace whatsoever. This man brings it. He can play right wing back. He can play on the wing. Top signing. I really think he could be available this summer, and Mansfield would be foolish not to try and pursue it, I think. The next player is Liam Bennett, who some Mansfield Town fans might not know of. He's a realistic signing for me, I think. He's very highly rated. He's out of contract in renegotiations at the minute with Cambridge, according to their retained list. Right back, right wing back, has statistically been brilliant this season when you look at the stats. Very highly rated as well, and he's young and he's got bags of potential. We really need some young players at the Stags. We're absolutely crying out for youth. With Cambridge getting relegated as well, I think there's a possibility. Of course, he could re-sign for Cambridge, and there are interest from other clubs. But I think Liam Bennett would be a fantastic signing for the Stags, and also a realistic signing as well. We've already talked about pace, and CJ Hamilton is Mr. Pace himself, isn't he? Fantastic player from his time at the club. He played at Mansfield before. Loved by the fans. He gets forward. He came on against us recently away at Blackpool. I was sat right in front of where he was playing, and he was superb up and down that wing. He still got it. He's still got pace. Downside are he's under contract, and he's potentially happy at Blackpool. And his defensive ability has been questioned at times. But in a wing-back position, I think he could still do a job for us. A bit of a wild card because we'd have to pay a fee, I would assume. But, stranger things have happened. Before I move on to the next player, if I could just ask if you could subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It really does make a massive difference. We're trying to target 500 subscribers first, and then the dream is obviously to push on then to 1,000. We're at 336, I believe, as of today, as of filming it. We've gained 120 odd subscribers in a week, which is incredible, really, considering before it was just a few shirt videos, and now I'm sort of trying to do more mainstream Mansfield Town content. So if you are enjoying the videos and you want to see more, and there's a lot more coming as well, if you could click that subscribe button and like the videos as well, and drop a comment as well if you've got any thoughts about who we should sign, any you agree with or disagree with, and there'll be a link to some of the older videos in there as well. But yeah, if you could subscribe, it really would mean the world. We move on then to central defenders, and I still think we need another central defender at the very least this season. We've lost Flint, we've lost Kilgore. I definitely think we need something in there. We've got Deji Oshalaja, we've got Bowery who's playing there as well, and we've got Cargill. But for me, if we're going to play that five at the back, we need a really strong central defender to help out with those I've already mentioned. Sam Hughes, for me, is the top centre-half signing. I know Clough's been interested in him before. He's had a fantastic loan spell at Peterborough this season. His parent club, Stockport, have not got promoted out of the playoffs. Obviously, they lost the day before this video was filmed. He is likely to be wanted at Stockport, potentially, and he may want to go on loan somewhere higher than Mansfield, obviously 17th this season in League One. He's a brilliant player. He's strong. He's great on the ball. He's fantastic aerially. His tackling is second to none from what I've seen. For me, he should be our top target, and I believe Clough was interested in him before. So, yeah, let's try and get Sam Hughes. Moving on to a central defender who may be a little bit more realistic than Sam Hughes, and that is Connor Taylor, who has been at Bristol Rovers. Very highly rated and performed extremely well this season in a very poor defensively minded Bristol Rovers side. Good age at 23. They have been relegated, so there's a potential he may want to leave, but really good ball-playing central defender. We could need a high fee to buy him. We may need to, well, we would have to pay money because he's under contract. And if they do try and maybe loan him out because he doesn't want to stay, they might want to loan him out or sell him to someone higher than Mansfield up the pyramid. So, yeah, difficult one, this one, to maybe try and get him, but I think it's potentially a realistic sort of player that we'd be interested in. Whether we could sort out a fee would be another thing, but yeah, superb player, and certainly for me too good for League Two. So you'll all recognise who this man is. It's our wildcard signing at central defence, and it's Ryan Sweeney, ex-Stag, Burton Albion. So that ticks the box straight away. Already played for Burton Albion. Nigel will be all over that. His location obviously suits Mansfield. He's played for the club before and he's great on the ball. He's left-footed. We've obviously got Bailey Cargill already, but you can't have too many left-footed players, can you? He could re-sign for Burton, currently in negotiations. That's a bit of a downside. And he did leave the club when Nigel Clough was in charge before. He went to Dundee, albeit that was at the time seen as a bigger move from League Two. So we certainly didn't release him or anything like that. But yeah, I could see it happening. Bit of a wild card I've put on here, but I could absolutely see Ryan Sweeney in a Stag shirt next season. And to be honest, having seen him play this season as well, I wouldn't be too disappointed with that. So then we move into midfield. Now, I've got a few here who are more defensive-minded or certainly not attacking central midfielders. And this guy, for me, is the top signing potentially of the whole thing. It's Jamie McDonnell, currently a Forest player, has had a loan spell at Colchester this season. A fantastic loan spell at Colchester this season. Young player of the season. Has been superb. I haven't seen Colchester play live because Mansfield haven't played them. But from what the footage I've seen, the comments when he left, all of the Colchester fans were gutted that he wasn't potentially going to stay there. His passing range is brilliant. His tackling has been superb. His stats put him right at the top of players in that division. He's very young as well. And there's a Forest link. We've obviously got Nigel Clough. We've got the youth team coaches as well who are Forest. We've had players on loan from Forest before. He certainly won't be in Forest's first team, I wouldn't have thought, next season. But there will be lots of competition. And he hasn't played in League One before, but I don't think that matters. Top signing for me, Jamie McDonnell. I would absolutely love if Mansfield could sign him from Nottingham Forest on loan next season. Moving to the other side of the A52. We're still in midfield, and we're looking at Tyrese Fornar. Fornar? I'm going to go with Tyrese Fornar. He currently plays for Derby, or did play for Derby, sorry. Previous club was Derby. He's just been released. He had a good loan spell at Salford this season. The locality is obviously a factor, that he's Derby based, so local to Mansfield. Clough will have inside knowledge at Derby, of course, from his time there, no doubt. He might not want to drop down from the Championship, as in he's come from Derby, and there will be lots of interest without a shadow of a doubt. But for me, he's a real realistic signing. Young again, central midfield, really good on the ball, got lots of energy, also got pace as well. For me, it would be a bit of a no-brainer, and he's on a free transfer. So I think Tyrese is a good shout for central midfield next season for the Stags. The wild card's a little bit more interesting. It's George Evans from Wrexham, who can play a variety of positions, which is a tick in the box for Nigel Clough, of course. Great experience, tough tackling midfielder, can also play in defence, and is out of favour at Wrexham. He's not played a lot. Wages and fee could be an issue. He is under contract, I believe. He's going to be on probably higher wages than what you would expect at Mansfield, and would have to potentially pay a fee for him, but you never know. Maybe a bit of a step down now. Wrexham have got promoted to the Championship, so he is a Championship player now. So yeah, this one a bit of a wild card I've put in here, probably in the unlikely box, I would think, but certainly the sort of player I think that Clough would like, and certainly I think Mansfield would be certainly enhanced by having him in and around the squad. Can I be cheeky and add in another little reminder here about liking the video or subscribing? Cheers. It's all very much appreciated. Dan Barton then, attacking midfielder from Cambridge, has turned down a new contract. So he is out of contract. He's highly rated. He is very young. He's only 20 years old, which Clough has already said he's trying to bring the age down of the squad. He would be half the age of some of the players we normally sign. Definitely interest from elsewhere, and has had injuries. Where have we heard that before? Very raw talent as well from the footage I've seen and when I have seen him play previously for Cambridge. They've listed him as a forward, striker, whatever. I think he can play attacking midfield. And for me, on a free, is a no-brainer. Again, he's young. Locality isn't a massive issue. Cambridge isn't too far away. Got experience at this level as well. So for me, Dan Barton, I think, would be a great signing for the Stags. And he's my top creative stroke attacking midfield target. Next player in this attacking midfielder mould, that can also play wing as well, is Josh Stokes, who is at Bristol City. He's been on loan in League One this season, I believe again at Cambridge. Can score goals. He's young, he's only 21. He's only had one season in League One. And Bristol City might want to get him a top League One side. But, you know, I think this is very realistic for Mansfield. And again, he would help in that sort of attacking midfield. We've only really got George Maris now who can play in that attacking midfield role. So it would be great to have more players who can do that, and Josh Stokes for me fills that mould where he can switch to out wide. He can also play an attacking midfield role, and I think getting him on loan I think would be a really good signing for the Stags. So yeah, I'd like to see Josh at the one call next season. If you agree or disagree with any of these suggestions, then please stick it in the comments. I am by no means a football transfer scout or oracle. I am merely just suggesting some of the players that I think we could sign. Knowing my luck, out of all these signings, they probably won't sign any of them. So we'll reflect on this video probably later on in the season to see how close or absolutely miles away I was on this video. So, you know, maybe I'll get a few right. Hopefully I do. Marcus Brown, on loan at Wimbledon currently. They're in the playoffs, as we discussed earlier, with Goodman, the goalkeeper. From Oxford, so Championship Oxford. Bit of a wild card. He has a lot of League One experience. He's only 27. I thought he was older than that. He's not. He's 27. He can score goals and he can play multiple attacking roles, which Clough will like. He can play out wide. He could probably play close to up top. He can play attacking midfield. He's got a bit more physicality than some of the other players. Wages could be an issue. I only say that because he's a Championship player. So therefore you would expect wages to be high. And he has had issues with injuries, but that has never stopped Mansfield Town signing players before, has it? No. So, for me, a bit of a wild card. Maybe it would be a loan signing. I think he's still under contract. So, yeah, I think it's an interesting one. And a player that I think will definitely add to what we've already got at the Stags. So then we move into the last three, and we are talking strikers now. Now, I've put this guy in the top signing, but it would be a real coup if we pulled this off. Ricky J. Jones has been released by Peterborough. So he's a free agent. He's got lots of pace, scores goals as well, and masses of League One experience. But he probably would want to sign for somebody a little bit higher up than Mansfield. Who knows? Definitely will be interest from others, that's pretty obvious. But somebody like him, I think, at the Stags, alongside the likes of Evans, Gregory, potentially Dwyer, and maybe even Oates if he could ever play a game of football again, then I think he would really massively enhance what we've already got. But it would be a real coup, I think, if we managed to pick him up from Peterborough, having left Peterborough. But yeah, Ricky J. Jones, let's see what we can do. I've just noticed it's getting dark outside. It wasn't dark when I started filming this video, so I do apologise if it's getting darker where I am. I've had a few issues as well at times with the camera not quite being up to the crisp quality that I would expect, so I do apologise if you've noticed that as well. So we're aiming to sort that. Russian Hepburn Murphy then is our realistic signing at Crawley at the minute. Just been relegated to League 2, so could be up for a move. He has got lots of pace again. He can score goals as well. He has had a good season statistically and performance-wise in a rather poor Crawley team. A little bit better when Scott Lindsay came, but they were poor generally. He is under contract though, and Crawley would probably want a decent fee for him. And historically, other than the last couple of seasons, he's not been a high goal scorer, but he is at the minute, and that's all that matters. I think it's realistic that he could come up to League 1. I would imagine he's got a taste of League 1 and would potentially want to stay there. Crawley under Scott Lindsay, though, will probably be at the top end of League 2, you would imagine. So he may stay around for that project, but I certainly think there's a chance that he could be tempted by the glitz and glamour of the one call. So then we have reached the end of our list. The wildcard striker, Kusini Yengi, Australian international. Bacchus, you've got to help us out there. You've got to put in a good word. Surely you've got to put in a good word about that. Kusini Yengi is a striker previously at Portsmouth, got promoted with them last season, got double figures in League 1 in his last League 1 season, so the season before last when Portsmouth got promoted. I think double figures in all comps, I think he got 9 in the league, something like that. So he has been promoted out of this league before. From what I've seen already on social media and in other places, he has had lots of interest. He may not want to drop into League 1, and he has had a history of injuries, including this season. So he's a bit of a wild card for those few reasons, that potentially he might want to go and play back in Australia. But why not? Mansfield, give him a go. I have no clue on wages because I don't know what he get paid at Portsmouth, but maybe attainable. They only got promoted last season. Of course, they'll have a bigger budget than Mansfield because they've stayed up as well in the Championship, but he's been released, so he is a free agent. So why not give him a go? I think we probably only need one striker to complement what we've got, providing that Oates can stay fit. I've said that before. And providing that Dom Dwyer potentially accepts a contract. If he does, then I think the likes of Yengi or Hepburn Murphy or J. Jones are good, solid targets. So we have reached the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching this far. If you have managed to get this far, thank you very much. If you've made it all this way, you may as well like and subscribe. Surely, you must. Anyway, there's a lot more Stags content coming. It's not just shirt-based stuff. I'm trying to evolve into doing more generic Mansfield Town content for you all. So hopefully you enjoyed the videos we've done so far. We've got a lot more to come. There'll be a lot more reactions. We've got Clough's contract hopefully to sort out. We've got new incoming signings. We've got kit announcements. All sorts of stuff planned. We're also going to be ranking things like away fans, etc. throughout the summer as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.